Hi. Okay, I figured out how I'm going to hook these motors together, and it was actually pretty easy. I just had to look around me. This is for another hobby I have. This is a half-finished gemstone, and as you can see, this end is hooked to this piece of brass. So in order to finish it, you have to take this piece of brass off and put another piece on. So you have this little jig. You put those two pieces in there like that, and it centers the center of this with the center of that. So it puts that in exactly the right spot. So that was pretty easy. Just had to, like I said, look around and figure that out. So what I'm going to do is, these are my wheels that I'm going to use. I'm going to put them on the motors and then use something similar to get them lined up with each other, and then just stick everything together. So seeing as how everybody didn't have the same kind of things, I just grabbed a few things that look like they might work. This is just a piece of molding for around a door, window, whatever like that. It's just laying around, a little scrap. And if I put that wheel right there and wiggle it around a little tiny bit, it's lined up now with this groove in the wood. So this might work. I'm not going to use it, but it might work. Another piece of wood. This is a piece of oak flooring, and it's the same thing. If you get into this groove right here, you can find a spot where that wheel's pretty much centered right there in that groove, facing along the axis is parallel to the side of it. So maybe some people don't have that. This is my cookie sheet, I guess what they call those. Obviously mine's not been seeing any cookies, but this edge right here, I figured, because there's a 90 degree there, that might work. Thing you'd have to do with that is get your straight edge out and make sure that that edge is straight and the bottom of the cookie sheet straight. And I wouldn't smear a bunch of junk all over that, like epoxy or something, and then bake cookies in it. This one's strictly for my hobbies. So and then this, I was looking at this, it's just a piece of aluminum. It's an angle, and the only problem with something like this is you got to make sure it's straight, because this thing could be bent depending on if somebody stepped on it or whatever. So you have to make sure this thing's straight before you use it. And you can lay that down on a flat surface, granite countertop, something like that, and then just take a piece of paper and try and poke it under there in various places. See, I can get in there a little bit, right in there, but that's because my surface isn't very flat. Probably can't get in that one. So maybe you don't have a granite countertop or one available or whatever. Almost guarantee you have a bathroom mirror. You just go up, hold that against your mirror with one hand, do the same thing, try and poke paper under there, and that's just going to give you an idea of whether or not it's straight. It wouldn't have to be perfect for what we're doing, but the closer to perfect the better. So maybe you don't even have any angle aluminum or stock or whatever laying around. I'll almost guarantee you have one of these. This is a kitchen drawer, bathroom vanity, same thing, and this angle right here is a 90 degree angle, so you can put that down in there and it'll sit nice and straight. And now those two, if I make sure they're, give them a little bit of a wiggle and make sure they're in there, those two are parallel. And like I said, probably everybody has a drawer. So if you can't find anything else, just open your kitchen drawer or bathroom drawer and you're ready to go. So anyways, those are the things that you could use, and this is one I'm going to use because it's going to be nice and small and easy for me to utilize. Let's see, where'd my, here it is. I'm going to take a piece of tape and put it across here. Let's see, right about here. And then, now this I haven't seen, not sure where I set it down at my tape measure, but I do have this, so it'll work just fine. I'm going to come over 10 centimeters, and I'm going to put my other piece of tape right at 10. Or not. Thing's fighting me a little bit. So as long as I'm between this and this one's not, my tape was a little crooked, so that one's not going to be, it's pretty close, only about a ½ millimeter off, but so as long as I'm between those two, I'm going to be okay. Now to get my wheels ready, the original hole in these wheels is much smaller than my axle, so I got to take, again, my battery's dead on my digital one, so I have to use my dial, but that's fine. So I'm going to measure this, and in several places kind of go around and measure the other one a couple places and see what your measurement's coming out to be. Mine was coming out to right, just a little too much. Right, come on, a little bit too much. Well, anyways, it's not going to go right there, And once again, I don't know if you can see this very well, but the first number you measure, or first number you have off of these, is off the scale up here. It's obviously less than an inch, so it's 0.157 is my measurement. If I'm out here, somewhere out here, I'm at 1.37, 1.5 basically. So like I said, I don't know how easy that is to see, but that's how you read these. If it's less than an inch, it's 0 point, this number, the big number, and then the little hash marks in between. So I knew that I know that I have 0.157. This is the size I need to drill at. So I get my handy dandy pocket ref. I know you're thinking just go on the internet, right? Well, I don't have the internet out in my garage, but I do have a pocket ref. So I come down here to 0.157, follow that across, and find that it's a drill, a number drill. They have drills that are numbered sizes. It's number 22. Now if I don't have a numbered size drill, 5/32 would be really close. I mean 0.0007, so can't get a lot closer than that. So I took these out and drilled them out that side. I drilled through from this side first because when I was looking at this, it doesn't look like it's in the center for some reason, and I don't know exactly why. There's no telling what kind of life this thing had before I got a hold of it, but it still should have been in the center. But this side looked okay, so I drilled from this side through. And I used a drill press. If you don't have one, just use your hand drill. And when you're drilling, let the drill guide you. The drill bit will want to stay in the middle of that hole. If you don't fight it, it'll go through pretty good, almost perfect. Then last time when I was taking apart the other one, I was telling you I didn't remember the resistor codes, so I can go back to this, and I wrote them down on here. So brown, black, brown is 1, black is 0, and then brown again is the multiplier, and it's a multiplier of 10, so that's 100 ohms. That black, brown, black was that I took off there. Red, red, brown. Red is 2, second digit is also 2, 2, 2, And then what did I say the multiplier was? Brown? Again 10. So it was 220. So they see these little books are handy dandy. Then it also has the standard values. So if you're looking at something and you think you need a resistor of about say 210 ohms or something like that, there is no standard value of that. You're either going to have to use 200 or 220 depending on what your application is. Then I was flipping through here and noticed, oh, that's the one we're using for the drill bit. There's acceleration due to gravity. I've never used that out of this book before, but it's in there. And then I now know what a fresh breeze is. Small trees sway, moderate waves, many white foam crests. So I had no idea there was even such a thing as a fresh breeze. Now I know what it is. Anyways, this got a lot of everything you ever need to know is in there, almost, with a few exceptions. Anyways, back to this stuff. If you remember, I had my measuring device here to figure out where I was going to cut that. And I cut mine too short because we had that bracket on there. I don't know where I probably already threw that bracket away. I don't know where it went. See, I could have left it quite a bit longer and still been within my target. Just to show you, remember I was talking about these other ones off the cardboard one I had being different, and see, these ones have the wires soldered on each terminal, and they had that bracket over the top that I took off. You can still see the 2 screw holes. This one has one wire on the terminal, a couple capacitors, and then the other wires just soldered right on the side of the motor. And this one came loose, and I don't have a soldering iron hot enough to solder to it, so I just zip tied it back on, and that seemed to work. And then there's no, see, there was nowhere to, this ridge here where you would have mounted that bracket, there's none there. So you just gotta be aware they're different. I mean, we overcame it by taking the bracket off, so we're okay there. So what else was it? When I set these down, I feel that this is still sticking out a little bit, and since I cut these a little too short, I want this to be as close to that thickness or whatever. I want it to be the same level as that out there. So all I have to do is take a piece of sandpaper. This is 120, so it's reasonably fine. I'm just going to real quick sand on this a little bit and see if I can get that a little flatter. See, I'm touching over here, so I sand this down on a flat surface, and it's going to give me a flat back on that. And let me see, there's still a little bit of it sticking up. That's a lot better. It's not 100% flat, but I don't want to waste all your time watching somebody sand on the back of these things. So, and a little more. If I would have used a little more aggressive sandpaper, a little lower number, this would be done a little faster. I'm going to call that good. Get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, those are pretty good. Now, I want to mount these on here. So I've already gone out and drilled that hole. It's number 22 drill bit. And I'm going to prove that, you know, those people that say violence never solves anything, I'm going to prove that a little bit of violence can be helpful sometimes. So I got this little hammer at the thrift store. It's going to come in handy. Now, I'm not going to hammer out here in the middle of my board because as you hit it, this is just a little table underneath here. It's going to flex, and all that flex uses up my energy. You know, it wastes my energy. So I'm going to go over here, and I don't know if you can see, it's probably off the end of the screen, right above where the leg of the table is. And I'm just going to use a little controlled violence and somewhat, I'm missing here a couple times, and pound this down on here. Well, thought this little hammer was going to be real handy, but I'm making as much progress as I'd like. Almost there. And I'm trying to hit the steel of the axle and not the gearbox. So I got this, it's like a bushing for a gear or something, and oh, it's clearance for the gear that's sticking out there. I don't hear my gear. I don't hear my motor turning. Oh, they're turning. It's maybe it was maybe it just popped up out of there a little bit. The gears are turning. Let's see. I don't know if you could see it. So I just need to put my motor back down in there. See if I can remember about right here. There we go. So my motor must have just popped up out of there while I was hammering on it. And I'm looking, I know you probably can't see it, I'm looking at the gap between that bump and the tire as I turn it, and it's good. It looks, I like that. That wheel's pretty well centered, it looks like. So I'm just going to do the same thing here real quick. I'm just pushing on there as far as I can by hand to get it kind of started. Oh, I don't know if you remember, I tapered the end of that axle just a little bit. Just put a little bit of rounded on it. Kind of like this hammer's got a little bit of rounded on the edge right there. And that'll help guide it through the hole. If you had square edges, the edge could dig into the side of the hole, and then you could chop it up as you go in. But if you round the edges just a little bit, it'll guide it right through there. So it'll make it'll make it easier to center that. Make it easier to go through square. Now I see why this hammer is in the thrift store. It's kind of awkward, actually. Might have to resort to my big hammer on this one, boy. Okay, there it is. Set my little hammer aside. Looks pretty good. Not quite as good as the other one, but I think it's going to work just fine. I don't think I'm going to have any... See, if that wasn't in there with the axle going straight through, it'd wobble. I don't think I'm going to have too much problems with that. So I'm going to take this, put it right here on my angle iron. It's not iron, it's aluminum. And I'm going to come in just a little bit from my tape because I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to keep it in a little bit. I'd rather have mine be slightly undersized and still get a completely oversized and get disqualified. So just kind of move over a little bit, kind of wiggle it around a little bit. Whoops. Try it again. Wiggle it around a little bit, and then get the tape around it. I haven't actually done this. I just using my other jigs where I got the idea. Oh, I got tons of room. If I can get this one figured out which direction I need to put that in there. Slide this in again a little bit. Oh, I don't have my tape out yet, so that's going to be a waste of time. Need to do that later. I'm going to have to do it again. But that's okay. These wheels have little skulls on them. Too bad I'm going to cover them though. Come on. Tape's sticking to everything but what I want it to stick to. Here we go. Oh. Make sure I'm still there. Come around. There we go. Now those wheels should be pretty much lined up, and then I can still move the motor and gearbox, so I can line these up however I want, except for they're going to be hitting the aluminum, but almost I can line them up almost wherever I want. And then let me see. Huh. This looks like these have another difference. These ones have this bracket right here is flat, and I was able to put this piece of foam core in between the two brackets for, you know, to add some strength and everything to it. This is just 1/4 inch thick. It's basically styrofoam with 2 heavy sheets of paper on it. It's what foam core is. But these ones, this bracket isn't smooth. It's got a little angle in there, so I'm probably not going to be able to use my foam core. So I'll have to come up with something else. What I could do, looks like here, and that might work. I'm looking down it to see if there's, you know, if I look down the top, I can see that these, if I mounted it this way, the tires wouldn't touch the ground because these are further out. So I'm looking down it to see, and it looks like pretty much everything from here all the way around to here, you know, 1/4 of the tire at least is below everything else. So at least that's what I'm going to start with. Shouldn't have to change it. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a little hot glue right here, or not. Come on. It was drooling over there, and now it won't come out. There we go. Big old blob of it, I guess. And a little over here. Sorry. That ought to do just to start. And that's going to be my, you know, just to start with, keep them lined up until I figure out another something to put in there. You know, like stick. I don't have a long one right here handy, but like a stick across there or something to help hold them together. I might take a little bit longer one and epoxy that on there. But that's got my wheels started anyways. Let me see. And then, so like I said, that's a pretty good start there. I'll worry about getting it a little more done, and then we'll go from there. I have a whole stack of these wheels. You can see that these ones are off of a different car than this one. These seem to be a fairly standard size, apparently, and they're just about exactly 2 centimeters wide, and then 46 millimeters, 4.6 centimeters in diameter. And like I said, I've seen several of these, so they seems like a pretty common size, I guess, or something. I got a couple more pair in case I mess those up too bad, or better yet, to make more of them with. I still got this set, and then the ones I'm thinking about trying. These ones are going to be cool if I can do it. Are these? Look at that! Got a spinner. The one thing about these, you know, at first you're thinking, well, that's just way too dang big. You're never going to get it all. You know, that's 2.5 centimeters, 25 millimeters wide, and these are only 2, so you're another 5. Thing is, this thing's so big around that it'll actually, I can't do it with this one because it has the piece on there, but it'll actually fit, your motor and gearbox will fit into the wheel if you take this off. So I think this is going to be possible. I don't know, I haven't got it all figured out yet because it's got a huge hole and you need that screw in there to make the spinner work. But that'd be pretty cool. Scare the other MiniSumos. Well, at least impress them. Then when I get this finished off and dry, I'm going to use this for the tire. This is actually this stuff called Sealing Winks. It's just foam. It's 2 millimeters thick, and it's just like, I guess, foam rubber. It's pretty inexpensive. It's less than $1. I got it from a place that's, I think of it as a craft store. It's for decorating and sewing and that kind of craft stuff, but hobby is in the name of it. So if you haven't already guessed, Hobby Lobby is where I got that one. I'm sure it's available other places, but that's it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now because I got these at least tacked together. Once you get to this point, you know, where you have them tacked together like that, you can put in more stuff to reinforce them. And I'm not sure what all I'm going to put in there yet. I'm just amazed that I have so much room in there between those two. So I got lucky, I guess. So yeah, can be done. And that's all I'm going to do for this time. I'll talk to you later.